Hello, it's Mike from Dimensional Walking, and today we're going to do a video, and we're going to call this video, it's going to be partially a question, and it's going to be about this artifact that was found beneath the ice recently, and it was in the spring of this year, 2025, and I don't think a lot of people know about this. Anyways, I'm going to try to, I got some information and I want to present it to you and you can see how you feel. And then the rest of it is kind of a question. Is it plausible? Is it a plausible encounter with alien technology? Okay. And it's pretty compelling actually, what things were found. And I'll try to explain it and go through it with you. And then I'm sure you have a million questions or you'll have a million things to disagree with me on. It's all good. It's all fine. It just gets people thinking. Okay, so again, in spring of 2025, there was this multinational team, a research team that was stationed in Antarctica. Okay, and it made a discovery that could probably kind of redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. Okay, so they were conducting this deep ice radar mapping, which they do, and they've been doing it for years. And this was near a place called Allen Hills. Okay, and I'm going to try to get a picture of this area, and I'll put it on the the thumbnail, and we'll see. Maybe I can get a picture of also the artifact itself. Although I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, but I'll try. I'll really try hard because I got some crazy contacts that you never know what they may have. And I'll see if they do. So, anyways, this area was also the area where in 1984 they found what this kind of famous, they call it the Martian meteorite. Okay. And anyways, it was this meteorite apparently had some indication or some elements on it or something that made it everybody think that it came and it probably could have somehow got picked up or came off of the planet Mars and came this way and it landed here or in Antarctica. So I'm not going to go into that at all. Anyways, it was in the same region. It may be connected somehow. Who knows? Anyways, this team ended up detecting this kind of structure buried about 3,000 meters below the glacier ice. Um, and the initial scans suggested it was kind of a metallic object, roughly the size of a compact car, with the contours inconsistent with any kind of natural formation or any kind of known human technology. Okay, so they kind of eliminated those things. The object was first identified using ground penetrating radar, which revealed this symmetrical hexagon shaped embedded in these ancient layers of ice that were at least 100,000 years old. Okay, so obviously this thing uh, it's been there a long time. There's no doubt about that. So unlike the typical meteorites, the structures showed no signs of what they call impact or surrounding debris, which appears it was placed there or landed gently, or it had arrived under some kind of a controlled descent. Okay, that's a speculation. And these were scientists, and they looked at it, they analyzed it, and that's what they came up with. So to get it out of that ice, apparently it's a very slow, methodical process. Of course, there's the extreme conditions of Antarctica, and they wanted to, of course, preserve the integrity of the whatever this thing was. Uh, so the researchers could only, now listen to this, the researchers could only remove this a few centimeters per day. Okay. When the outer surface of the object was fully exposed, it revealed this smooth, dark alloy with no visible seams, okay? No rivets and no corrosion, okay? The material was unlike anything categorized as human metals. Okay, it was resistance to acid, it was resistance to heat, and it was even resistance to diamond tipped drills. So at this point, they could only look at it from the outside, basically, and make observations from there. Once it was completely extracted, the object was transported to a secure facility for analysis. It emitted no radiation, no magnetic field, and no detectable energy signature. Yet, when exposed to certain frequencies of infrared light, the surface shimmered in some kind of like iridescent patterns, like, and they kind of said it was kind of maybe like a code or maybe some kind of a language embedded in the material. And that's pretty profound if you think about that. So the spectroscopic analysis revealed trace elements of elements that, even though they are on the earth, are rarely found together. And I'm not gonna give you the names because I'll screw up the pronunciation. So sorry, they're really rare. I'd never heard of them, and I've heard of quite a few of the elements on the periodic table, but I've never heard of these before. So you have to take my word on that. But if not, I'm sure if you want to ask me that question, I'll dig them out and I'll give you these elements. Anyways, and these elements never really occur in any kind of alloys on Earth. So nobody's taking them and making them anything. More puzzling was the presence of isotopes not native to the Earth, okay? Suggesting that they came from deep space or they were created at some point by somebody else, not of known again, human technology or human tech, whatever you want to call it. So inside the object, here's where it really gets interesting. So inside the object, the research discovered this hollow chamber. It was uh, containing this crystalline lattice, okay, suspended in a magnetic field. Okay, it's very cool sounding, right? The lattice pulsated faintly, emitting a rhythmic signal that, when transmitted into audio, represented some kind of a harmonic sequence. Okay, some speculate it could have been from like a data storage unit or a simple but strange consciousness. Okay, and those are pretty wild speculations for sure. Um, but now, as usual, the scientific community was very divided. Skeptics argue that the object could be some kind of a leftover Cold War experimental probe that was lost and forgotten about, or others point out that the isotopic anomalies and lack of historical record of such a technology existed. Okay, so there's really no record that anything like this was lost or anything else. Okay, of course, it could be top secret. Some of the voices also suggested that could be a probe sent not to observe, but to seed. Okay, so that'd be 100,000 years ago. It ended up landing. Ice went over it. It didn't get to do its thing, whatever its thing was. And some say it wasn't here to observe us; it was here to actually seed us. Because I think the reason was is they came to that conclusion or that possible answer was because it was 100,000 years old. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of regular humans. There wasn't any Homo sapiens running around to be observed at that time. Not that we're aware of, anyways. So the astrobiologists noted that the crystalline uh, uh, lattice bore similarities to some kind of organic molecule found in interstellar ice clouds, which is quite interesting. Um, and apparently, there's this telescope. It's called the ALMA telescope, and it was one of the telescopes that identified these particular ice clouds. So then it said that maybe this could be object that was carrying life's building blocks, a kind of device designed to deliver this genetic materials across the star systems. So it would be, 100,000 years ago, whenever, it would be delivering these building blocks to start, different civilizations basically across the galaxies or across the solar system. I mean, it's all speculation. There's no doubt about it. If the artifacts is indeed extraterrestrial, it raises, I guess, some profound questions. Was it sent deliberately, or is it a remnant from a lost civilization? Or is it maybe a larger network of probes scattered across the planets waiting to be activated? Okay. And maybe this one never did get activated. Okay. Maybe it was sent, just didn't get activated. It wasn't like it landed in a very, uh, you know, uh, tranquil place. It was a very hostile environment, and it wasn't that it landed in North America or something in a temperate zone or something, but who knows? So the idea that this alien technology buried in ice isn't, I guess, far-fetched, because one of the least, obviously, places on Earth that's been hasn't been explored much is Antarctica. Okay, there's no doubt about that. And of course, the oceans are probably number one as far as exploration goes, where they haven't explored the oceans because of the size, the literal size. But as far as a ground mass, Antarctica is the least explored ground place on Earth. Okay, so because of that, obviously there's stuff that could be under the ice and well preserved actually. So um, that's one important thing. So there's a place, I guess there's these subglacial lakes like Lake Voskov, which apparently there's been these really strange uh, uh, biological uh, microbes that have been found stuck in the ice there. And, the origins of them also is very much unknown. So as the news of this artifact leaked, the conspiracy theories, of course, flourished. Some claim the object was part of a larger craft, that maybe only a fragment of it was discovered, and the rest of the craft is there under the ice somewheres. Others believe that it could be a beacon now activated and transmitting signals into deep space. The lack of official confirmation, of course, has fueled this type of speculation. So all the research teams, basically, outside of this leak that had gotten out after it happened, uh, everything else has suddenly been locked down. There hasn't been any too much more said about this that I'm aware of. Most of this information that I gathered was between probably 2 or 3 months after uh, the discovery. Okay, and there hasn't been too much since then. Now you may do your own research and find out there has been. That'd be great. Let me know. I like to know myself, but I did some pretty, I thought was pretty good deep diving. So, and I couldn't find anything else. And I've talked to a few of my friends or contacts that have some really inside information most of the time, and they didn't. Outside of hearing about it, they didn't have anything to add to the pile of information or the stuff that did get leaked out. So, with that said, let's see. Is there anything else I want to add? Um, well, anyways, this obviously artifact is a relic. It could be a relic, it could be a probe, or it could, or a message. Its existence challenges our assumptions. It reminds us that the universe is, this vast, ancient, filled with possibilities. We can only begin to imagine. The discovery beneath the ice may not be a definitive proof, and it isn't a definitive proof that there is alien life, but it is a whisper from the cosmos for sure, urging us to listen more closely. And I believe there's a lot more stuff underneath that ice that needs to be extracted. And I want to say this in closing. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is the beginning of a conversation that's been waiting a millennium to begin, and it has begun. And obviously, we've had all this new kind of information leaking out about UFOs and maybe aliens and this, that, and the other. So, anyways, again, it just is just another piece of the puzzle. So, anyways, with that said, happy trails until we meet again. We'll see you. Bye bye.